to loading this. Let me see. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we are on YouTube. So let's start. Good evening, YouTube. We're here for another English immersion. My name is Warley, and the topic for today is how much bad news do you need? So we are gonna talk a little bit about doom scrolling. So it's a specific topic about social media and bad news, and the relation with scrolling and bad news. So that's the topic for today. But before starting, I would like to explain a little bit about Talk and Talk, so you that are watching us on YouTube can understand how this immersion and how this dynamic works and the platform works as well. So in a general way, Talk and Talk is a conversation platform for beginner, intermediate, and advanced speakers. It's not so important or mandatory your level on English. The idea here is to focus on the conversation. This is not a regular class. I mean, definitely not an English teacher. So I am here to try to improve my English and to learn with you as well. And the main important point here is to focus on the conversation and to develop your fluency and your confidence as an English speaker. So that's the idea of the immersions and the most important idea here on Talk and Talk. And besides English, we have other languages as well, like Spanish, French, and Italian, I guess. And you can see all of that on the Talk and Talk website, okay? So with that in mind, I think we can go to the introductions and after that with the questions. So Gustavo, can you please introduce yourself first?
Yeah, my name is Gustavo, and I have two children. And her name is Antonio and Charles. I'm married, and I I have 26 years old, and I work as a software developer.
Amazing, amazing. We actually we have a lot of people from Nigeria here, so that's nice. And actually, I was a developer before. I still work on Nigeria as a project manager, but I was a front-end developer. I work as a front-end developer before, and here on the platform we have a lot of people from Nigeria, so it's amazing. It's amazing. And well, about me, as I said before, my name is Warley. I'm 26. I work with IT, as I said, as a project manager right now. I live in Recife, Pernambuco. I have started here on Talk and Talk as a Spanish host in 2022. I have started with Spanish and nowadays I'm focused more on English. So I'm here as an English host since last year, I guess 1 year and a half, I guess. Yeah, I believe. And well, I like to learn language. I like to do outside activities. I like to run, and yeah, I think that's all about me. So let's move on to the question number one. What is doom scrolling and why do people engage in it? So if you, I don't know if you understand the concept about doom scrolling, for example, but the main idea is doom scrolling is the act of scrolling through bad news on social media. For example, when you are on Instagram or on Twitter or YouTube or something like that, and you are scrolling, searching for bad news, and when you are engaging on uh, on bad news, when you are focused on that. So that's the idea of doing scrolling and the concept. And, and about the second question on the number one, why do people engage in it? I guess is related to the culture of us. I actually I don't know if it is the same on other countries, but here in Brazil, we focus a lot on bad news and tragedies and all the bad things. So the news are focused on that, and we like to see about that, and we like to see about other lives as well. So, in my opinion, it's like a natural thing that we have. So because of that. And also, on social media, we have this information in an easy way, so we can access this information in an easy way, like in a few seconds, so I guess because of these 2 points, I believe, we engage a lot on doing scrolling, bad news, and all this stuff, in my opinion. But what do you think about that, Gustavo? What's your opinion?
Uh, let's see.
Can can you try to answer in Portuguese, for example? Why? Actually, first of all, do you understand the question? The question number one,
The first, yeah,
the first question. Yeah, do you understand that, right?
sim, entendi.
Okay, so in your opinion, why do people engaging a lot on doing scrolling and see bad news and all this stuff? You can try to answer in Portuguese, for example, or use in English on the answer.
Aham. Então, eu entendo que é por causa da quantidade de dopamina, né? Geralmente que se libera ali até ao ficar scrollando, né? Nas redes sociais. E acaba que isso desperta um sentimento de alerta no próprio, na gente mesmo, e isso acaba criando uma imaginação fértil para coisas que poderiam acontecer, que não vão acontecer. Isso gera muita ansiedade nas pessoas, mas elas querem estar engajadas nesses tópicos que trazem ali uma ansiedade, né? Coisa e tal, e sentimentos ruins. E é algo difícil, né? Porque, querendo ou não, é um mecanismo de vício, né? Como qualquer outro, como uma droga, é,
Mhm.
química, coisa e tal.
Okay, okay. I agree with you. But in general way, do you think that uh, the algorithm and the social media and the platforms are focused on like engage people on see bad news in are let me rephrase that. Do you think that the social media, the platforms, and the algorithms related to this kind of platform are engaging to maintain people seeing bad news, doing scrolling in this loop in a general way? Do you think that they are focused on that?
Não entendi muito bem.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Do you think, for example, social media and Instagram and Twitter and all these platforms are focused, the algorithm that the platform has on engage people, on see more bad news and continue to doom scrolling and see more bad news, for example? Do you think they are focused on that, the platforms? Do you understand that?
Se o foco delas é em engajar as pessoas nas notícias ruins,
Yeah, exactly that.
sim, geralmente porque são as notícias. As notícias ruins são as que mais são clicadas, né? E, tipo, por exemplo, fofoca sobre pedofilia, coisa e tal. Então, é uma notícia ruim
Mhm.
e geralmente as pessoas querem dar a opinião delas, mesmo que elas não saibam nada sobre aquele tópico em si, né? Então,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
internet virou esse palco aí, né? Onde todo mundo sabe de tudo, mas no fim das contas não resolve nada.
Yeah, that's a good point. And in a general way, do you usually doing scrolling when you are using social media, for example? Do you do that?
Não, geralmente na rede social, geralmente eu tenho. é, Quando eu uso, por exemplo, eu uso o LinkedIn e Instagram para profissional, mas eu sigo apenas 20 pessoas, por exemplo, e eu não uso geralmente o explorar, né? O Explorer
Hmm.
of the Instagram.
Hmm.
E no LinkedIn eu tenho uma extensão que ele limita ali o feed, né, em si, então ele é bloqueado, então eu não mexo nele, eu geralmente só uso mesmo para responder a recrutadores, etc.
Hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. But do you use like YouTube or Twitter or this kind of platforms that have
YouTube, YouTube também.
yeah,
Só que o
that
YouTube
they have
eu
news in a general way?
I'm not screwed.
Uh,
Block
y-
the feed, né?
uh-huh, uh-huh,
You know?
yeah. You don't like to use the
I'm watch only the channels
Mhm.
that I'm subscribed, né?
Yeah, yeah, I understand. So you don't use usually the reels of Instagram or the shorts videos on YouTube. You don't like to be like scrolling the
No,
short videos, right?
I'm
You
not
don't.
the short videos.
Okay, amazing, amazing. That's nice. That's nice because on this point of short videos on YouTube, reels on Instagram, and all this stuff is the most mainly is the main place that have uh these quite of content, so about bad
É.
news and about all this stuff. So it's complicated to use that, but yeah, that's nice. That's nice.
É,
Um,
eu costumava ficar vendo muito, eu perdia muito tempo, né? Ali 20, 30 minutos só
mhm,
vendo um videozinho no YouTube.
yeah, yeah,
É, isso acabava drenando ali a energia mental, né? Eu chegava no final do dia
yeah,
com os olhos cansados. Ainda sou muito viciado em
mhm,
celular, mas pelo menos no
mhm,
YouTube, essas coisas eu vejo mais vídeos do que vídeos
mhm.
shorts, né?
Yeah, and the complicated point related to short videos that you are using that and you don't realize that you are spending a lot of hours using that, so you are like scrolling on the social media and you don't realize that you spent like 1 hour 2 hours using that, when you see on your day, for example, you don't realize that. So that's the most complicated point because, for example, if you spend like 2 hours per day using social media and scrolling, for example, in 1 week is like 14 hours per week, so in a month it's a lot of hours. So that's complicated when you think in a long run, and you don't realize that you are spending a lot of hours on that. So complicated. But you mentioned the point of the tiredness related to use social media using technology and cell phone, for example. So that's related to the question number two. So let's move on to that. In your opinion, how can excessive exposure to bad news affect the mental health of people? What do you think about that?
Uh, this causes depression, anxiety, um, desperdício de tempo, né? Assim, além
Mhm.
de
Waste of
procrastination,
time.
yeah,
Mhm.
procrastination e falta de foco, no caso, também. Isso gera muito
Mhm.
falta de foco, né, no futuro, quando a pessoa precisar de fato. Por ter se viciado em dopamina barata, né? Por assim dizer.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good point. And uh, do you usually notice when you are like seeing a bad news, for example, on TV or on social media? And do you think that this point impact on your day, for example, you feel like anxious or stressful, or something like that when you see a bad news?
Hoje, today depends of the content of bad news, but not
It's not.
my affect
Mhm.
in
It's not
my
usually for
day.
you to see that, right?
Yeah.
Mm. Okay, okay, yeah. In my opinion, for example, and I believe that's uh, a big reason that explain for me that I'm not using Twitter anymore, or I don't use often the Twitter social media. For example, and I have uninstalled the app of my cell phone. It's just because of that, because when I was using Twitter, I was using that a lot, for example, on my day, 1 hour or more per day. And always when I'm scrolling on Twitter, I see a lot of bad news and a lot of comments and bad comments on the platform, and with that, I was feeling like more anxious and all this stuff, and because of that, I have stopped to use that, and I think it happens with a lot of people, when we are like not just Twitter, when we are using Instagram or when you are using YouTube, or even when you are watching TV, for example, when you see bad news, this affects you a lot on the day, and not just on the day, it affects you a lot on your life in a general way. So because of that, I have stopped to see how can I say that, news on TV, for example, so I don't see that anymore because it's just bad news, it's just that. So in my opinion, it impacts a lot on my life, and I can't do that. So I'm trying I'm trying to do that uh, on Instagram and YouTube as well, but I have stopped at Twitter, for example, and TV, and that's the first step, I guess. But it's complicated to filter, for example, on YouTube, that I like a lot to see a lot of videos, and filter this quite of information, because when you are using the social media, you are seeing a lot of news, and that's common as well. So that's complicated. Um, but let's move on to the question number 3. In your opinion, should the media change the way it presents news, and what could be done? For example, not just related to TV, but also related to YouTube or social media and internet. Do you think this platform should change the way that they present the news, or do you think it's okay the way that they present the news right now?
I don't understand this question.
Uh, let me rephrase that in English. If you can't understand, I can speak in Portuguese. For example, do you think the TV right now on the news, and also the social media, Instagram, YouTube, and the creators on this platform, uh, do you think they should change the way that they share the news right now, the way that they share the news, or do you think that's okay? The way that they share the news, it's okay. It presents well, and that's okay for people. Do you understand right now? Or do you
Yeah,
try? Can you try that I speak in Portuguese?
eu
Do you
entendi.
want?
No
Okay.
caso, acredito que depende muito do impacto da notícia, né? Se ela for uma notícia muito ruim e se ela tem alguma coisa correlacionada com a minha vida, tipo assim, algum caso de pedofilia, porque eu tenho filhos, aí talvez eu fique pensativo, mas não ao ponto de afetar meu dia, né? De eu ficar para baixo, assim, muito para baixo. Obviamente eu fico reflexivo, mas não ao ponto de isso me gerar uma ansiedade ge- degeneralizada, né? No caso.
Mhm. But do you think, for example, on TV, just an example, this the way that they share the news, it's okay, for example?
Não entendi.
Você acredita que, por exemplo, a maneira que as notícias são compartilhadas e são levadas à população pela TV ou pelas redes sociais, por exemplo, é, são ok? A forma que elas compartilham a notícia, por exemplo, ou poderia ser de uma outra maneira e
Poderia
não
ser de
afeta
outra
tantas
maneira.
pessoas, or
Tem,
something like that,
são muito sensacionalistas, né? No caso. É, tem notícias que poderiam ter menos impacto, se não fossem tão colocasse tanto exposição, né? Na, por exemplo, igual fazem com pessoas que, por exemplo, se suicidam. Não, geralmente a gente não vê, né, nos noticiários. Acredito que deveria ser dessa forma, seria algo mais abafado, por assim dizer.
Uhum.
Isso ajudaria a não a afetar tanto a vida das pessoas, né? Principalmente pessoas que são down scrolling, né? Tem esse
Mhm.
hábito muito enraizado já.
Mhm. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the the way that they share information is just related to that, you know. They are focused on how can I share the news in a way that people will see more, you know. So they are focused on that. So the way that they are focused on, I don't know if sensationalism is the correct. Let me see. Just a second. Yeah, sensationalist is the way that they share the news, you know, and the focus is uh, to people see more and they will share more. So that's the focus on this quite of uh, how can I say that of this platform, you know, the creators on social media and the news on TV and all this stuff and these vehicles. I believe I can say that. Um, so the focus is this sensationalist news, you know. So that's the focus, the views and just the views, and it impacts a lot the life of people when and the way that we are consuming the news, you know. So that's a bad point, I guess. Uh, okay, let's move on right now to the question number five. In your opinion, what strategies can help people reduce their doom scrolling habits? What do you think it could be done?
Five question.
Yeah, question number five.
Ok. Ter mais contato com a natureza, no caso, seria uma boa estratégia. Além de limitar o tempo, né, de exposição a redes sociais, ou seja, se a pessoa fica 2 horas, dá para baixar para uma. Se ela fica quatro, dá pra baixar para duas. Aí vai depender do nível de vício da pessoa. E todos os celulares hoje mostram isso, né? Ah, além disso, eu também acredito que, aliás, refeições, por exemplo, todas as refeições principais do dia a dia da pessoa dá para ficar sem o celular, por exemplo, né? Ter um momento mais de foco ali no que ela tá fazendo, qualquer coisa do tipo. Também coisas também que podem ajudar por exemplo, se você tá lavando uma louça, é, evitar escutar música ou coisa e tal. Assim, são exemplos que hoje eu não, algumas coisas que eu até mesmo eu não consigo colocar em prática, né? Que, por exemplo, precisa estar ouvindo uma música para lavar uma louça, coisa e tal. Então, são coisas que eu acho que ajudam bastante, né? A pessoa estar presente no momento, ali no momento que ela estiver fazendo alguma coisa, ao invés de ter algum tipo de estímulo externo.
Why do you think people use so much cell phone and social media when we are doing other things? You know, like uh, for example, wash the dishes or eating in a meal, for example. Why do you think people focus so much on using social media when we are doing other things?
Acho muito ruim, porque parar pra pensar, a pessoa ela come em 10 minutos. Então, ela vai sentir fome um tempo depois, porque ela não comeu bem, ela não mastigou o suficiente, não saciou a fome dela, vai gerar ali uma compulsão alimentar, né? Principalmente pessoas obesas. E esse é um dos principais motivos, né? Então, você ficar ali assistindo qualquer tipo de coisa, né? Eu me incluo até nisso também, eu tenho esse hábito recente de ficar com o celular enquanto como ali, né? Alguma coisa. Então, apesar de um estímulo, né, sendo que deveria ser ficar mais tranquilo, sem celular, e aproveitar ali o momento. Então, seria isso.
Yeah, exactly that. I do the same, you know. When I'm at lunch, for example, I use a lot the cell phone. I don't use a lot like uh for scrolling, for example, on social media, but I use a lot to see videos on YouTube. I
Yeah,
like to watch videos when I'm eating, and I don't know, just eating is like boring right now. It's complicated thing because it should be a common thing, just eating and be quiet as well, like a natural thing. But when I'm doing that without watching a video and using the cell phone, it's like boring. And well,
yeah,
we try to optimize the hours that we have when I'm eating, and I can learn something or something like that. But if you think about the habit, it's not a good and a healthy habit. And it's a thing that we do a lot. It's like a common thing for everyone. It's complicated. Complicated point.
bastante. I
Yeah.
also watch the videos in YouTube in these moments,
Yeah.
but uh, são bastante prejudiciais, né? Porque, querendo ou não, a gente, por exemplo, a gente trabalha com um segmento que usa muita cabeça, então a gente precisa de foco. E essas
Yeah.
pequenas coisinhas aí tiram foco, né? Essa acaba, no horário de trabalho, você quer dar uma olhada no celular, no Instagram, mesmo que fique longe, às vezes, por exemplo, eu trabalho com dois computadores, o meu e o da minha empresa aqui do lado. Então, sempre tá alguma coisa aberta, aí você fica naquela neura, né, de ficar sempre. hum, Às vezes não tem nada, mas só o estímulo já cria meio que um comportamento excêntrico.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a important point, because as you said, we work with our mind, and it's complicated when you think about uh the time that we have on the day. We need to relax our mind. That's important because we use that a lot on the work. But when you are trying to relax in our mind, we try to just use the cell phone. So we are not in relaxing when you are doing that. So you should uh you should do like a manual activity, go outside walking or something like that to relax your mind. But we work with the computer. We work using the our mind a lot. And when we try to relaxing, and when we are not working, we are using a cell phone. So you are you should you be more tired. So because you are
Yeah,
trying to just using the your mind always.
yeah. I After the use my cell phone in moment of relax, I'm tired
Mhm.
too.
Yeah. And
Ao invés de relaxar, né, no caso, eu fico muito cansado mentalmente. Teve um dia,
mhm,
acho que tem uns 3 dias, eu tava cansadão mentalmente, assim. A gente sabe porque eu
mhm,
acho que é o hiperestímulo de telas, né? O hábito
mhm.
de ficar no computador, na televisão, em celular.
Yeah, that's the point. And when you are using like social media or the cell phone to relax, we have this feeling about all the dopamine that we have. So we have this feeling about, well, I'm relaxing because it's not about a boring thing. We are releasing dopamine when you are using the cell phone. But actually, it's a paradox. You are not relaxing. You are uh, you're gonna be like more tired after. So that's
Yeah,
the point. And you don't realize that at the first moment, but you should it's gonna be difficult after. So that's a complicated point. But
Okay.
as we said before, actually, it's not a easy thing like just go outside and do other thing when you have the cell phone and when it's so easy to just uh, grab the cell phone and scrolling, you know. It's a easy habit, but it's not a good one. So it's complicated. But okay, let's move on to the question number six. In your opinion, should social media platforms be responsible for limiting negative content? Do you think the social media, the platforms, should focus on limiting this quite of content? What do you think?
Please, the answer is seven.
The six,
The
question number six.
uh no, in my opinion, companies should have the power to delete content unless it is a crime or dissemination of illegal content.
Yeah, good point. Good point. And do you think, for example, the most how can I say that, guilty, I guess? Let me see. Yeah. Do you think the most guilty person, for example, on this thing, or the most guilty one is the people, the creators that are using the social media and sharing this information, or the platform that allows people share this information, you know? Do you understand that?
Yeah. In my opinion, depends. Uh, if critical news and for bad, I believe that's that's right, né?
Mhm.
Ah, nesse caso, uma moderação ali mediana, talvez. Agora, na minha opinião, excluir depende do que. Por exemplo, se não é uma coisa que não vai impactar ali a vida das pessoas seriamente, eu acredito que você tem um pensamento mais livre, né, nesse aspecto. Agora, como você vai pegar aí coisas mais sensíveis, desinformação com crianças, jogos, adultos ali, pedófilos que se passam por personagens, né, em redes sociais. Então, nesses casos aí, eu acredito que tem que ser mais pesado, né, nesse tipo de coisa. E também cabe conscientização por parte dos pais, né, em moderar. Por exemplo, os meus filhos, eu tenho um filho de 2 anos e outro de um. Eles
Mhm.
não, eles não mexem em celular, não assistem televisão.
Mhm.
Eu conheço criança de 2, 3 anos que já sabe ver tudo em YouTube. Os meus, por mim, até os, sei lá, 12 anos, 13 anos, eu ainda não vou deixar, talvez. Se tiver no meu controle,
Mhm.
enquanto eu puder controlar isso, eu não, porque eu vim de uma, como eu fui criado pela minha avó, eu não tive esse tipo de controle, né, a rigor ali em cima.
Mhm.
Eu podia assistir o que eu quiser, mexer no computador, isso me trouxeram mais coisas para a vida adulta também, então eu vou fazer diferente com os meus filhos, né, no caso. Eles vão me agradecer, porque a geração deles é a primeira geração que é mais burra do que os próprios pais, né? Segundo uma pesquisa, que teve um
Yeah.
estudo científico. Então,
Mhm.
é isso. Enquanto eu puder privar eles disso, vai ser melhor para eles. Ao invés de eu leio com eles, né? E faço coisas manuais e tudo mais.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a unbelievable thing, you know, because uh we have a lot of information right now. We have a lot of ways to access information, and this generation is not using that for learn, you know, or something like
É.
that. So it's pretty complicated, and I understand you a lot with this point of your children, and I believe on the same. I totally agree with that, and it's pretty complicated to I'm seeing like a kid like with I don't know 5 years, and they are using social media. They are using like the cell phone, and they are scrolling all the time, and that's pretty complicated. In the long run, it will be a bad thing for them, So it's pretty complicated when you think about that, and it's like a common thing nowadays. We
Yeah,
we see a lot of children doing that, and it's pretty hard. But for example, on your experience, your kids, they are like 1 and 2 years old, right? So
right.
when they are on the school, for example, do you think it will be easy to limit this use when all their friends are using social media and using cell phone and all this stuff? How do you think about that? How do you think it will
Ah,
be actually?
bom, eu penso o seguinte. Se eu tiver condições, eu pretendo colocar numa escola que tenha essa regra, né, de não ter celular
Uhum,
na sala de aula. Eu
uhum,
sei que ainda assim é impossível, né, mas há estratégias para isso também. Você educa dentro de casa, conversa, né? Eu acho que o principal ponto aqui é a criança confiar em você para falar sobre tudo. Então, por exemplo, não brigar com ela se ela fizer qualquer tipo de coisa, mas ser compreensivo. Punir, mas de uma forma. Tem que ser, tem que ter a mão firme, porém não autoritária, né? Porque pais autoritários geram crianças que escondem, omitem as coisas. Então, isso é um ponto, né? Então, primeiro, uma escola que não tenha, né, esse tipo de cultura de deixar os alunos em sala de aula terem celulares. E segundo, a própria educação, né, dentro de casa. A gente que educa e a escola ensina outras coisas, né? Mas quem educa é a gente mesmo, nesses aspectos.
yeah, that's a good point. In my opinion, it's a complicated thing because the environment, uh, the environment don't help with that, because all the kids will have a cell phone. A lot of kids
Yeah,
will use that, and uh, their parents are not like so it is not a common thing, unfortunately. So it's complicated when we think about that, and I believe that it would be hard for your kids, for example, when uh, they will have a lot of friends that they are using social media, that they are using cell phone, and they won't have that. So it will be
yeah,
difficult, but I agree with you. It's very important to explain this point. The kid need to understand why are you doing that, and why it's important, uh, this limit, and the reason to don't use the social media, don't use the cell phone, and the importance of that. So that's the most important point for me. It's like you need to explain that, and the kid need to understand the reason for that. But definitely it would be not easy because the environment doesn't help that with that. So it's quite difficult, but it's possible. It's totally possible in my opinion.
yeah.
So
This is a critical point.
yeah, yeah,
Complex.
exactly, and uh, it's also complex because all the news and all the information are on the internet, and it's difficult for you to like filter the good content and the bad content for them as well. For us, it's complicated. Imagine for a kid, for example. So it's complicated. It's complicated just to, for example, on when they will study, maybe or probably they will need to use the internet, but you need to filter when they are studying actually, and when they are doing using social media and all this stuff. So It's not a easy point as well, but it's important to do that, this limit and this importance and this understanding. It's very important in my opinion. But okay, let's move on to the question number. Let me see.
7.
Yeah, can be the 7. Do you think can doom scrolling ever be beneficial, or not? Do you think doom scrolling is just and always a bad thing?
My asking is depends.
Mhm.
Before my asking it is no, but hoje eu acho que depende. Por exemplo, for example, uh, on learning languages, this is can this can isso pode ser benéfico, né? Por exemplo, você usa uma rede social qualquer, como Quora ou Reddit para praticar ali com os falantes, os nativos, como eles escrevem, né? A linguagem da internet digital. Isso pode ser benéfico, você escrular nesse aspecto, com o objetivo de aprendizado da linguagem, né? Porque, querendo ou não, a linguagem real é o que o pessoal fala, né? E principalmente, por exemplo, a nossa geração tem uma linguagem um pouco diferente. Então, para a gente se inserir nesse meio, de certa forma, por exemplo, se você quer trabalhar para a gringa e em startup, geralmente vão ser pessoas mais jovens. Então, você tem que entender ali um pouco daquele linguajar deles. E a melhor coisa é você se inserir nesse meio através dessas redes sociais que eu falei, né? Que tem tópicos específicos, aí já é uma questão, um scroll mais consciente, por assim dizer. Você escolhe o tópico que você quer aprender, né? Por exemplo, eu quero ver notícias e debater sobre notícias de luta, né? MMA, UFC, etc. Aí já é beleza. Aí por isso que eu falei, antes eu tinha falado não, mas agora eu acho que depende. Depende do objetivo e se ele é muito específico, né? Agora, se for uma coisa genérica, como a gente faz geralmente, que é abrir o YouTube, abrir o Instagram e scrollar ali ad eternum e ver vários tipos de conteúdo e vai colocando aquilo ali na cabeça, vai pesando, né? Querendo ou não, inconscientemente ou não, a gente acaba se prejudicando isso, por conta disso.
Yeah, that's a interesting point. And related to that, I was thinking about the question number 11. Actually, not 11. The question number 12. For example, do you think we can have a balance between stay informed and not uh, not consume bad news, for example? Because in my opinion, focus on news is important when you are when you are trying to um, maintain informed. When you are trying to maintain yourself informed. So we also need to see the news because it's important to see what's happened on the world. But when you are
Yeah.
doing that, we focus a lot on bad news as well. So do you think we can have a balance on these 2 points?
Bom, eu acredito que depende, por exemplo, tem algumas questões políticas que talvez se afetava, principalmente a gente que tem uma profissão mais que é o mundo todo aceita a gente, né, de certa forma, dependendo do país que a gente tiver. Se tiver ruim, instável politicamente, economicamente, vale manter uma certa atenção a isso, mas eu acho que não ao ponto de você saber tudo no detalhe. Porque no final das contas a gente não muda nada disso, né? A não ser que você vire político ou eu vire político. Viremos políticos. Isso não vem ao nosso, não cabe a nós cuidarmos disso. Então, o quanto mais você blindar a tua família, você mesmo de qualquer tipo de notícia, assim, as boas notícias são sempre bem-vindas, mas as más, acho que é melhor a gente se blindar nesse aspecto e, e manter o foco, né, no que importa, que é a família, a sua rotina, os seus objetivos pessoais e profissionais. É o que vai te engrandecer como ser humano, né?
Yeah, of course. I totally agree with that. We can change these points, you know. We can change. We can't change the country and Brazil and all this stuff. So it doesn't matter if you are so focused on the information, and doesn't matter if you know all the information and all the news, because you can change these points. I agree that's important to be informed, and see the news, see what's happened on the country. But if you are focused a lot on bad news, and you are focused a lot on the news in a general way, uh, all the time, yeah, you are just wasting your time. You know, that's the point. You don't need to be focused on that, because we, as we said before, we can change this point. So that's the idea. Uh, I believe we can have a limit, and we can focus on the most important information and just see what's happened, but we shouldn't focus on the all the news and all the bad news mainly, you know. So that's the point. It's not it doesn't matter. In general, it doesn't matter. But okay, so
Ok.
uh we don't have time actually for more question, but I would like to send here on the chat the link of the survey of the immersion. Uh, It's a anonymous survey, so you can say what did you think about the immersion, and also suggest other topics that you want to talk about on other immersions as well. So you can answer on this point. I appreciate a lot you to be here. I hope you enjoy the conversation as well, and I hope to see you on the next time. Okay, so thank you, Gustavo, and